Hi, good morning, and welcome back to my channel. So, my name is Swamp Rose, and some people call me Kiki, but this is a true crime podcast, and we cover the Idaho4 or the case against Bryan Kohberger. And before we get started, I just wanted to tell you what's coming up this week because I think you folks will be really interested. I'll turn on my camera and say hi. Thank you for joining me today. I'm feeling kind of shy today, though, so I think I'm going to turn my camera on. Okay, so I have, first off, I have a video coming out later today, which is a response to Pavarotti's video. And it's a response to Pavarotti's theory, and I've been working on it, so it should be coming out this afternoon along with a couple more videos that I've been working on. And tomorrow morning at 10:30, I'm gonna turn my camera back on because I feel like it's really impersonal. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, I have a members only live, and it's gonna be really fun. We have a lot of new members, which means I'm gonna donate like 10 memberships in a minute. But our members only lives are really fun because it's a lot more personal, and we can ask a lot of questions because it's not the general public. So it's a really great live stream if you've never been to one. And let's see. And then you're going to want to tune in Thursday night because we are doing part 2 of our mainstream media, Idaho4 mainstream media debunking. So that's going to be a really good show I wanted to tell you about. And I don't think I missed anything else. So we have some updates for you today. And these are mainstream media like updates on the case, but we also have a couple of YouTube updates because there's been some, I think, like some news coming out of YouTube recently. So I have just a couple stories, and I'm trying to keep this live stream a lot shorter because I've noticed that if I keep them under an hour, I get like an extra 1,000 views. So we're going to try that today. And let's see. So I want to begin with court updates, and I lost my place in my thing. All right, so I want to begin with court updates, and obviously the biggest update that we have is the change of venue. And I'm going to pull up Christy Nevada's page, and I'm really happy Christy is posting because I haven't seen her post about the Idaho4 until recently. And I'll put Christy's handle up. Hold on, let me just play this picture. Here's Christy right here, but I'm going to put her handle up for you real quick so you can go visit her channel because she's starting to do some updates, and she's on all the social media platforms. So she always gets like the most up-to-date information. Oh, I have to look. I don't want to type in the wrong handle here. Oh, it's just, okay, it's Christy Nevada. Okay, so I've got the banner up, and so we're just going to look at the pictures that Christy has for us. Now, I have a couple of questions about this. Now, I'd like to know in the chat, do you think that, there's the motorcade, do you think BK looks healthier in this picture? Because I think that, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Midnight Shadow, but I think that he looks so much healthier in this picture. And I think that he had really good accommodations in Latah County. And I just wonder what it's going to be like for him now that he's in this larger penitentiary. And I heard that he's going to be in general population at first. And Yeah, I guess once, my understanding is once you've been convicted of the actual crime, um, that's when you can start separating. But until he's an actual convicted whatever, killer or burglar, whatever, he has to stay in general population. He's just being held there. So I thought that was interesting. And then Rose says, yes, he does look good. Oh, hey, Robert. Oh, Too Fast is here too. Hey, Too Fast. And Mags. Official is here. Official, you've been leaving some good comments on my channel. Thank you. This is an interesting one. So Max Smith says, has there been any crime scene photos made public? I actually had someone approach me about crime scene photos, and I thought it was weird, but they said that these photos were originally posted on YouTube and they took some snapshots of them and then they were taken down. I don't know though. I definitely know there hasn't been any officially released to the public, but people have said there were some circulating. I don't know how much I believe it, just like every other story in the Idaho4 case, you got to triple, quadruple check your sources. GQ sent a photographer, right? It does seem like it is a, like he's got like a pose, like he's got a half smile or something. But he just took a good picture. That's all it is. Yeah, so we really don't know what his health is like. We do see, though, we'll go back to here. And you can tell he's not like, I mean, you can sort of tell he's not like obese and he's not like emaciated. He looks average build in that picture. And the Victorian says he absolutely looks different. Let's look at his face again. I've noticed something about this picture, and I don't know if you noticed something about this picture, but it's his eyes. They don't look as sunken in. And I mean, obviously the mugshot we saw before, he was under extreme duress, but yeah, you can see he looks like a different person. His face muscles are all relaxed. Hello, cute. I know you were joking. I don't get every joke, but I get a lot of them. He's glowing for some odd reason. I'm just thinking of comments. So anyway, this isn't the only update I have about Ada County or his move, but I wanted to show you the pictures just because I haven't live streamed in a few days. It's not really like me, but anyway, so I'm just trying to catch up my audience with things that you might not have heard yet. But I do have something else to show you that Christy sent to me as well. Let me take this comment down. Yeah, smiling but not in a mischievous way. It's like he's posed for the picture. Oh, Paco says he knows that a civil suit is coming. All right, let's bring up the next video. So again, this next video was recommended by Christy Nevada. And turn my camera off. Actually, I'm just going to bring this back up.
Explain this. You posted this.
Oh, yeah.
Explain what's happening here, because.
Okay, so Vivian.
Explain this. You posted this.
Okay.
What happened? Okay, guys, hold on. Give me a second. Okay. Let's try this again. Scruffy energy. So what we're looking at here is the new judge in the case, Stephen Hippler. And so again, Christy sent me, yeah, that was bubbly. Obviously, you recognize. Obviously, I have Bubbly Waters videos saved in my playlist. But what's interesting about this interview is it's not just showing the new judge in the case. It's actually him talking about the Daybell case. And at that time, that case seemed like it was garnishing like unprecedented media coverage, international media coverage. But this case obviously exceeds that. But it's interesting because he's speaking on that. And he's speaking about how his team is handling that. So let's listen. It's a 5-minute clip. At first, I was just going to play you parts that I thought applied to this case, but I do feel like the entire thing really does apply to everything we're talking about.
I'm Nate Eaton outside the Ada County Courthouse. We're here with Judge Steve Hippler. He is the administrative judge over the 4th District, which encompasses Ada County. Judge, let me just ask you, what have you guys been doing to prepare for such a big, prominent trial?
So we've been cooperating and working closely with Madison and Fremont County Administration and all of our justice partners here, the clerk's office, the sheriff's office, the trial court administrator, other agencies, city police, others, to ensure that we have the resources and we have the bandwidth to be able to put on a trial like this. It's not the trial itself that's particularly difficult. We have big trials here all the time. It's the media interest and the degree to which you all are needing to cover this that causes more issues in terms of securing the jury from that kind of influence, as well as to just make sure everybody can do their job appropriately. So it's really a teamwork effort that we've started, probably a year and a half ago, preparing for.
That far out, because as you mentioned, there is such an interest. And one thing I think a lot of viewers might not realize is this isn't the only thing happening at the courthouse. You've got a lot of other things happening.
Yeah, this is a very busy courthouse. We have almost 40 judges here at any given time, and 27 courtrooms. So we have a lot going on. This week, as an example, I had to ask 3 judges to vacate jury trials they had set for this week because we simply didn't have enough courtrooms. And that's not unusual.
So just a couple things that you can glean from this. Number one, so they have so many courtrooms. There's like 40 courtrooms. But what he's saying right now is in order for scheduling, he had to ask, or I'm sorry, he has 40 judges, he said. But he was saying that in order for proceedings to happen, he had to cancel several jury trials. So what could that tell us? It could tell us that he manages his schedule really well. One of the things I was thinking, I should probably pull up my notes while I'm doing this, but one of the things I was thinking, and I got this, I believe that it was Jules of All Trades who said this, but whoops. So it's moving to a completely new docket, a completely new court. And that could mean several things. It could mean it's going to keep that June 26th trial date. It could also mean that it gets moved later, but it could also mean that the trial gets moved sooner. I mean, we really don't know. It just depends on the scheduling. But just hearing him, the fact that he rearranged the 2 jury trials scheduled to accommodate something is interesting. Hey, Jeff. Is this a new interview with Hippler, or is this him talking about Chad Daybell? It is him talking about Chad Daybell. Thank you for joining us, Jeff.
Unusual. And so that's just how busy we are here at times.
So what do you foresee for the next few weeks? What do you want the public to know who might want to come down and actually attend a portion of the trial?
So what I would suggest, 2 things is, 1, be sure you get on the reservation system that's linked on the website, the district court's website, or I think you can get there almost from any Ada County government website now. Make sure the day before you sign up for a reservation, whether you want to sit in the courtroom or in the media overflow where it's shown on closed circuit television. And, and it's set up in a way so if you want to sit in the courtroom, that opens first and you can apply and you'll find out if you got a seat or not. And if you didn't, then the overflow room is very large, almost 200 seats. So there's plenty of seats there, most likely. So do that in advance. Don't just come down here thinking I'll go watch it without having gotten a reservation. And second is be patient in terms of the parking. We have limited parking and a given day, any day, without all of the media here and without all the interest. And then be patient. Everybody who comes in has to go through the magnetometer and be screened. And so there can be lines at certain parts of the day in order to get in. So bring your patience.
I would say that having been here all week, everyone is very professional as far as the security people, very friendly, courteous. So we haven't experienced any issues. What's been the response so far? I mean, are these rooms filling up? So far, we've only been in the overflow. What's been the response?
So far, they're only doing jury selection right now, and Judge Boyce is not allowing people in the courtroom itself in order to make the jurors more comfortable because they have to talk about personal details, and so they can. They're not allowed in the courtroom. They're allowed in the overflow room. The jurors' faces are not shown when they're being questioned, to protect their identity, and they're not using their names or using juror numbers. But the interest we've had so far for that, I think we've had, maybe 40, 50 people in the overflow room, which again can accommodate about 200. So far, things have been fine. We expect probably a lot more come the beginning of the case itself next week. But I think once we get going and get into a routine of the trial, things will be relatively smooth. The administration here, the partnership between the three counties, Ada County, Madison, Fremont, and all the justice partners involved has been tremendous in working with one another and cooperating. And so I'm not anticipating a lot of hiccups.
Last question. Have you seen anything like this here at Ada County?
I've certainly seen a lot of big trials, significant trials. In terms of media interest, we've had cases with a lot of local media interest. But in terms of the degree of national and international media interest, in my 10 years here, I have not seen that.
Okay. Well, before that goes on to something else. I don't know. I thought that this was a really interesting clip. At least we get a sense of who the person is, like when he talks. We get a little bit of a snapshot of what the courtroom's going to look like. And I think that this is a good sign, I guess. So the first thing that I thought was a good sign about this new venue was that they made a ruling on this case so quickly. So we saw the venue change when the Supreme Court appointed Judge Hippler so quickly. So I thought, okay, well, does this mean the case is going to be moving faster? And I think that maybe from what he said, we at least could hopefully still be on track for starting next summer. Let me see what everyone is saying. Okay, so Rose says, oh, they're just talking about, this is talking about the day bell, just for anyone who just tuned in. Elizabeth Munster says, BK looks younger and the sparkle is back in his eyes. Could be because he got moved to another county and it has lifted his spirits. I can't even imagine being in jail. You just, like a little thing, just traveling to another place would probably, if you think about that mentality, like it would probably lift your spirits just to have any sort of change. Rolo's here? Wait, Judge is buddies with Green? Really? I'd like to know the natural healing. I'd love to know the connection that you saw, or just tell us which creator is talking about it so we can give them a shout out and go check out their work. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like not up to date on everybody. I need to get better about watching everybody in the community's videos. I don't tune in, but I need to listen more and talk less and learn. And then Out of Order in the Court says, if Bryan is innocent, who did it? I don't know. But as people watching as like potential jury pool, we don't necessarily have to know. We just need to know the facts when this case starts. It's not for him to prove, it's for the state to prove that he was there. But I don't know. And whatever's going on, I'm going to wait to hear the evidence and I'll decide then. And it's so hard to say because it's been so long that we've been saying that. I like your new profile pic. Wade says, the big difference also being that the judge interacts with the public, not JJ. So does that mean that the gag isn't transferred over? Judge talked peripherally. Maybe that's why. So that's a great question. I'll tell you my best understanding to the answer is that the case is transferred as it is, but the judge can rule on anything, the new judge. He can rule on things that judge already ruled on. So if the gag order, if somebody requests the gag order to be lifted, he can rule on that. And it's actually the premise of a video I have coming up because it's one of my biggest questions. Actually, I should pull out my notes because I don't want to get off track with you guys. I'm trying to keep this short and sweet today. Great point. Let me bring up a couple points that to go along with what you're saying. So these are some of the things that I thought might get changed with the venue. This is a Supreme Court appointed judge, so things might be about to change. Number one, we could see the gag order lifted. That was my first thought. Number two, we could see a completely new list of players. We're gonna see a new prosecution team. The most impactful thing we're going to know in the near future is what's going to happen with the trial date, though. And that was my biggest point and takeaway. The whole reason I showed you that soundbite is because I know we've heard a lot of people saying this is going to move out to 2027 and whatnot, but there is a good possibility, judging by how tight they run their ship there, so to speak, that they might be able to get the case done on time or in the time frame that we're expecting. So I'm going to show, I'm going to do one more current event from YouTube, and then I have a video. I'm glad Heather's here because I'm going to be showing a video that she released earlier today. But before I do that, I wanted to bring up something that I heard on YouTube recently, which I feel is definitely an update in this case. I heard it on Truth Transparency, actually. Hold on a second. There's people saying things. Oh, can the defense prove the crime scene was staged? I know I've heard police talk about that as a specific talent before. Actually, not just, I heard about it in, just so you know where you can hear it too, in Cyray's live stream he did recently, Cy and Carrie on Social Lake Crime Club. They did a entire series or video on like blood spatter, and they actually talked about that. They talked about the different aspects of staging, and one of the things as a police, you go into that scene looking to see if things are staged. Another interesting point that he brought up, him and Carrie did, is that when somebody tries to clean, it is one of the most undisguisable, like, how do you say it? Indisguisable. You can't disguise it. Those swirling marks from the way you clean just cannot be removed. They can see them under luminol even better than a fingerprint, I think was the example he gave. So that's a great question. I hope I gave you a little bit of an answer. Yeah, this is a really good point. AR brought this up. Like, you have to come up with a routine when you get into prison, or like he was saying, you just sit there kind of staring at the ceiling. So the first thing that they recommend that you do is get yourself into a routine. And now he's going to be in this completely new place, and it's a completely different setup. Like I said, he's in general population now. He hasn't been charged with anything, so they can't put him in with any category of prisoner. He's just in Gen Pop. Oh, what was that? Tommy's got a great show. I wonder what he was talking about. Oh, they were probably neighbors. Hi, Sirius. Okay. So Ralph Yoder says the judge has suspicious connections to Coeur d'Alene via Bubbly Waters. Well, I haven't been on Bub's channels in about a week, so I'm going to have to go check that out. If you know the name of the video, Ralph, go ahead and type it in so that we can tell the audience. We're all just learning about him right now. Max Smith doesn't think this is ever going to go to trial. Insiders and outsiders, in my opinion. So Pagan Ways feels that this is another insider judge. And it looks like Heather's agreeing. Yes, Rose, it came from a very good source. Thank you. No, and I know that, yeah, no, and I know you are in a lot of live streams with creators that I trust, so. Okay, I think this judge will be sure to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. Doesn't it seem like he has that type of personality? Like he's the guy that dots all the I's and crosses all the T's. Like when he talks, projects, that's what I'm picking up on too. They might have bombshell evidence we are unaware of. Yeah, I have not dove into it and I need to, but I don't know what to believe because of this gag order and because of other things I've witnessed. But I mean, we all, I believe, heard Lana, wasn't it? Not Lana, I'm sorry. We heard Steve Gonzalez said that there was other DNA at the scene recently. And I thought that was really interesting. And I slipped out and said Lana's name because I'm going to give an update I heard on Lana's channel in a moment. So sorry about that. I love your name, Aurora. It's hard due to the amount of misinformation put out even by some of the family members of the victims. I want to see what the state has to say. And I know, and that always gets me because I'm like, okay, are they getting leaked information from the law enforcement? Or are they just, you know, is this just word on the street? Is this stuff they gathered from their private investigator? I don't know. But great comment. Angel D, your pictures. Oh, thank you for the gifted memberships, Angel D. I'm going to do that in a second once we start our new soundbite. Good morning, Rolo. We need to talk. Hi, Robert. Hold on. September 6th order canceled. Oh, wait, is September 6th order canceled? I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was a question. Well, I mean, I have the court docs up. I was looking at them before I came on. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, guys. Good question, Paco. September, wait, are we on the right thingy? Yep. All right, September 6th. Hold on a second. Let me read your. Is September 6th order canceled? Order granting defendant's motion to change venue? I am not 100% sure, like, why this would be canceled, but maybe somebody could clarify in the comments what we're talking about. BK looks almost surreal, or serene, I'm sorry. The guilters won't like it. The man is innocent. You know, and I go by the innocent and proven guilty. You know, if I see evidence, I'm going to be the first. I'm not going to deny either way. you know, I'm going to remain objective until the end, but I can't believe BK was transferred pretty much immediately. And Angel D, I think it just kind of shows us evidence how this court operates. So it's stuff like this that leads me to believe we're going to see that trial on time or before. And out of order in the court says, I don't think the touch DNA evidence will hold up. That's going to be a huge part of this. I wonder if it's going to make it to trial. Are we going to have a hearing about this? I mean, I was listening to a video by Harsh Reality earlier today, and it was a pretty strongly worded video. It wasn't his most recent. It was called Effective Defense or something like that. And it was on the wrong comment. And I guess what I'm wondering, like, he was stating, well, they haven't turned over all the DNA evidence. And then he was like, well, but they don't have that DNA. He was kind of in defense of the prosecution saying, well, they don't have the DNA evidence to turn over. And that kind of got to me, and I'm thinking back. And so the FBI, I guess, has that evidence. Will it be turned over to this new judge in this new venue? Or will we just have this lingering questions about the DNA? Or are we going to see a hearing to determine whether it's going to be in trial or not? I don't know. I'm a lawyer. Hey, Justice, good to see you. Love your channel. Oh, booger, the judge is friends with Green. However, it doesn't mean is that kind of judge that leans towards his buddies when it comes to doing his work. Yeah, let's have more faith in our judicial system than that. I mean, the term friend and term buddy is subject to, you know, interpretation. He certainly has to be a colleague of his, probably. Jeff says, you're going to show the Heather video? Now I'm excited. Like when I was in grade school and the teacher would roll the TV. Yes, if you guys don't know, Heather Fitzgerald is killing it with the videos lately. Let me put her handle up. And of course, where would I be without her incredible mind helping with fact checking in my channel for months now. So I just trying to find the handle here. So we'll scroll Heather's name at the bottom while we're talking. Oh, hey, 12. Hold on. So the new judge is going to dismiss the case. I haven't heard anything along those lines. But what we could be looking at are other indicators, like they talked about Frank's hearings not too long ago. The Frank's hearings are coming. Are we going to see something going on with that? We also haven't seen any motions to put sanctions on the prosecution yet for not handing over discovery. So are we going to see some of that too? I mean, before we even see the case dismissed, those are things that seriously need to be addressed. Jeff says, my lucky number is 7, but my new favorite number is 12. Oh my gosh, stop it with your man crush. Sirius Black says, Angel D, I was surprised too. I thought this was scheduled for the 19th, but I'll take it. I know all about not being able to sleep, unfortunately. Come on, ladies, sleep is for the weak. I wonder how the judge is going to view the Gonzalez attitudes with their new brochures that are anti-BK. I didn't know they had new brochures. I guess I'm not up to speed on everything. I think what I need to start doing is going on the Gonzalez family Facebook page before I go live, because it seems like we get a lot of updates there. Oh, yes, and there's some free memberships in the, oh, I think they've given away. And I'll come back when we're playing the next soundbite and add some more, because we do have that members only live tomorrow at 10:30, and it's going to be great. So I'm planning the whole thing out. I have a new sponsorship. I'm going to tell my memberships. I hope BK is reading a Bible while he's locked up. And if he did this awful crime, I hope he reads the passages about truth setting him free. I just got like chills, Jeff. I don't see it being dismissed. They will try, Brian. I think so too. They're pot committed, you know. Hate to say it. But look at what we saw in front of our eyes with another high-profile case not only a couple months ago. We all watched the Rust trial, and we watched them not hand over what possibly could be exculpatory evidence. And this entire case they worked on got thrown out. The entire case got thrown out. And I think it was like with prejudice or something. It was just really bad. So, I mean, it's not like the right thing doesn't prevail. The systems are only as good as the people who are running them. So let's hope we've got a larger pool of talent in Boise. And yeah. Wait, I wonder what elements they will use in 404 A and B against the detained suspect. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but if somebody has some inside knowledge, please let us know. Bubbly's video was taken down? That always happens to Bubs. If somebody, yeah, that's awful. I'm sorry, Bubbly. BK is in segregation? Oh, well, there you go. All right, so that's an update from the beginning of the show. She had the wrong time. Oh, yeah, I was gonna do the live stream for 11:30 today, and then I go in and it says I'm looking at it, and it's like, oh, you're going live at. I realized it was 11:30 p.m. So there was no advertisement for it. So I'm glad that you guys actually showed up. Maybe we'll play one of your videos at the very end, Justice. This is not going to be a short live stream, apparently. Oh, Bubs, I'm so sorry your video was taken down. Thank you for the gift, Angel D. Okay, you'll have to watch Tommy's show last night. Okay, all right, that's how we'll do it. There's your workaround, guys, if you want to see Bub's information. I'm just seeing, what do you agree with Max on? Let me find it. And she's agreeing with Max. They're saying that the case won't make it. I think the case won't make it. I can't find it, Max. I'm sorry. And thank you. Okay, so Rolla says, been saying he would be in a high power module because it's a high profile case, but they still program there amongst each other. It really gets to me. We need some sort of prison reform in this country. You know, actually, that I'm going to pause right here because I think there's something important that I want to show you guys. I'm going to pull up a video. I really wasn't planning on doing this, but it just reminded me of something that I saw about the Ada County prison system that I don't want to say the things that I saw. I just want you to read them for yourself. It's only a 1-minute video. All right, I'm pulling this up. So this was sent to me in Discord by Warning Label Nina, and she made this short asking questions about the Ada County prison system. And I'm not going to read the things they say out loud. You can read them for yourself. So as you can see, there's a lot of questions. I mean, it's obviously for another episode, and we don't know much about his incarceration, but those are some scary allegations in that short. Somebody's asking, and I have the same exact question. Oh, I just lost it. Why? Somebody asked, why is Bubbly's video taken down? And I don't know. I would like to know. I hope so. These people seem pretty biased against the defendants. And it's like percentage-wise, it's the same percentage of people out of the population. But the key thing is the pool that isn't affected, the other 70% of the people there, there's a larger volume of them to choose from. So you're more likely to find that right person for the jury. Yeah, this was it. Ralph was saying that Bubbly Waters video was taken down. So go to Tommy's live to check it out. Brian already probably gave someone trying to test the waters a black eye or two. He was, I don't know how somebody doesn't mentally prepare for that kind of change. I want to talk about this next update. I know we're getting sidetracked here, but there is an update that I've heard for the first time recently on YouTube, again, on Lana's channel. He wasn't put in general population for, he wasn't put in general population for his safety. I'm glad that they did that, because we were being told that it didn't matter if he was high profile. It didn't matter what the crime was. He was not segregated until he was convicted. So that's really good to hear. Sirius says, that's good to know. I'm having something. All right. You guys, it means the world to me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, your profile pic changed. I'm supposed to be doing an estimate for my husband. Sorry. Sorry, baby. I'm almost done with it. He calls the sheath a sleeve, Swamp Rose. He said the same thing in 2023. Do you guys know what the difference between a sheath and a sleeve is? I don't know. Okay. Aurora Dawn says, there's something like 3 male DNA, 2 are unknown. If I recall correctly, been a while since they talked about the DNA. Yeah. So there are 3 unknown DNA. And I don't know, like there's this one thing in the unredacted, what was it? It was the unredacted PCA from Pennsylvania. I think it was, I was reading. I have a copy of it somewhere. It was given to me by Homeland Security USA. And it has a quote in it where it talks about a case, El Dorado, California, blah, 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 blah. What I'm getting at is this defendant that they cited in this paperwork, he got his case thrown out, or he got the DNA evidence thrown out, the IgG evidence, or something along those lines because of the unknown DNA, that he was unable to obtain those profiles. And what it ended up being is some sort of procedure where if the police were in the scene and accidentally or somehow contaminated with police DNA, they'll put it through as unknown DNA. I don't know all the details to that, but that's kind of what the paperwork was saying then. Everyone gets a membership. Like Oprah. Yeah, thanks, Pete Fox. Good to see you. Jeff says, probably can hear that Steve G gives misinformation based on how old the video is and that you're watching. As time moves forward, we learn more and understand more. And I think that time works the same for the G's. You know, honestly, Jeff, that's the best explanation I've heard. We'll just leave it. Yeah. Yes, all court date. Okay, so this is a really good. All court dates have been vacant. So I mean, even the June 26th is out the picture, and that September 6th we were talking. Wait, Kohberger blood spatter expert, Dr. Glenn or something. Did we get a blood spatter expert named? Thank you for that. Say it louder for the people in the back, please. It feels like it, doesn't it? I don't want to read it out loud, but yeah. Well, you have a great day too. Thank you for the excellent comments and being part of the chat. Oh, you're saying discovery deadline. Yeah, so the discovery deadline happened before the freaking they changed venues. So that's a good point. I mean, we saw the response to the discovery and they said they are complying with every legal obligation, basically. I don't know. If all dates were vacated, does that take away the defense's ability to put sanctions on the prosecution if they don't change anything over? Yeah, anyone else recall the unknown DNA found? Paco says, I probably have the wrong date. I think that September, yeah. But no, the September 6th was the deadline for discovery. Because I know that because we were all expecting paperwork that day. And then all of a sudden the defense dropped 1,000 pages of documents. The phone went dead. Good to see you back. Tish says, I was wondering myself if this will ever go to trial. Angel D says, Swamp Rose, do you ever listen to Kana Whitworth podcast, King Road Killings? I sent it to Heather Fitzgerald, the link. I have not. Thank you for the recommendation. I appreciate it. Rolo says, funny how no mentions of Ellie had really found the knife sheath then. Why would they have said they had no leads, suspects, asked for tips, occupants of the Elantra, etc.? Y'all ate that whole shit up. I'm the first to say I fall for every Idaho4 hoax, so that's not unusual. I believe JJJ just didn't want to continue being part of the condemning with so much doubt. I've said too, like there's a few things, like, I don't know. Also, it did seem like if the Supreme Court hadn't intervened, it did feel like, and this isn't just like my own independent thoughts. Obviously, I'm influenced by the people around me, but like Too Fast said that it seemed like a defensive strategy because if you give a huge, like, how is the judge supposed to respond to all those documents? It's like forcing the hand for venue change. But then the Supreme Court came in and just gave it. Sorry if I misquoted you too fast. Terry says, yes, BK looks healthy and handsome with the shadow. He looks human. It really does humanize him. We all know, the bed wake up with a shadow or whatever. Santa said we can't turn over what we don't have and don't exist. Fell on all y'all's deaf ears. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing with the IGG. He's like, they still don't have it, and are they going to have to turn it over because it's going to a new judge who's going to have fresh eyes on it, and a judge who has 40 other judges under his belt that they do procedures, and they probably work with federal cases all the time, and they're going to know exactly what to do in this situation, I believe. And whereas there was doubt with JJJ, maybe Hippler has got some way of either tossing the evidence out or forcing the hand to show it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out. Jeff says, BK had some shadow that night. Could be he's looking good enough to cause frozen shock phase in any woman. Just kidding. What the heck, everybody? P. Fox. So cute. Gross says Heather's last video was awesome. It really was. And the cool thing about it is that she's not just showing the clip, she's putting in big, like bright captioning. So you really can't miss the little words and stuff that they say. And when you read it, it sometimes appears more clear than when you just hear it with the inflection and the emotion behind it. So have a great day. Thanks for stopping by, Natural Healing. Heather has a poll question. Who thinks the discovery deadline was met? I'm going to say no for me. And we got to get on to this next update here. I want to see how Hippler handles evidence that hasn't been turned over by the evidence custodian for sure. Could an 18th motion presented, or could an 18th motion be presented, or will Hippler rule on the 17th motion for discovery? Wow, that puts pretty much all of my thoughts into the same. You summarized it in the least words as possible. Thank you. I'm going to appreciate that Angel D is trying to behave today. The PCA is full of lies. If that's the case, can the judge dismiss the case? Well, the probable cause affidavit was what was used to get the search warrant. And so if the probable cause affidavit is thrown out, I believe that that's what they're talking about when it comes to the Franks hearings. I don't know. I don't have a legal background. I'm just like kind of repeating what I've heard, but Frank's hearings are used to combat search warrants that were obtained. Rolo, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I'm not going to display it, but thank you. Wait. BK's Catholic? You realize that BK is Catholic, always has been. You know what I wonder, like, it's totally off subject and trailing off, but if you're Catholic, I mean, I don't know those amongst us watching who are Catholic, but it's a specific type of worship. I wonder if they can get their denomination for a priest or pastor. That's my question. So if he's Catholic, can he only get his access to like a Baptist or like a Kirker? I don't know. Jeff says, you be yourself. Oh, this is to Angel D. Okay, so Tish says, I watched the Rust case, and that's why I wonder about this case. Me too. And that was a win. You know, whatever you think who is guilty or innocent in that case, that was a win for the people. Because it's about preventing the deterioration of our society. And as soon as people have, you know, and this isn't a slight on police, no matter how good the people are, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And in that instance, we can all see the checks and balances that were put in place in our judicial system in action working. So it's so true. It's bigger than we all think. And I would go as far as to say the YSL trial, the RICO trial that's going on right now in Atlanta. It's another time where we're watching how our justice system, our checks and balances are winning against perceived or alleged corruption. I don't know. YSL trial is crazy. You guys should check it out. Cold case genetic genealogy has rarely been tested in a courtroom setting to an intense degree, and questions remain how they got to BK, well as broader constitutional, evidentiary, and privacy concerns. Absolutely. The Rust case was dismissed with prejudice. That's what I thought. Alec Baldwin can never be tried again. And I think that that's the big distinguishing factors when something gets dismissed with prejudice. Those charges can't be rebrought, I understand. So, or you just told us. He isn't in prison, he's in county jail. I guess that makes sense why. Sorry, my dog is snoring in the background if you think it's thunder or something. Yeah, maybe that's why he's spared being put into general population. Ralph Yoder says, do you guys watch To the Point? Not critical, but giving shout outs to all creators who insist on remaining objective in the face of reasonable doubt. I hope he gives, who is To the Point? I don't know. I hope they give me a shout out. I try to remain objective. Although some people would probably argue with that. I hate those suckers though. Rilla says, high power in the county detention centers and prison. There's no high power. And then if we go back up to Ralph's comment, he isn't in prison yet. He's in the county jail. We're actually learning a lot. Thank you for the people sharing this knowledge about the incarceration in here. It's not your fault, OCD Shaggy. It was the worst delivery of a live stream this morning. Hey, thank you for showing up, Victorine, and thank you for the awesome comments. We hope you have a fabulous day too. We do have one more update. I just want to get all the prison comments out. In prison, there's only one segregation unit, special needs yard, PC, administrative segregation, and security, special housing unit. Wait, hold on. So the special needs yard, is that for like disabled people? Or is it like just like the special facilities in the, I don't know. How do we know if he's in segregation? I'm going back up to this one. So the special needs administrative segregation, that's probably a processing thing. And then security, special using. So he's probably, I would assume by this comment, in the SHU, special housing unit, because he's not in prison. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me correct the record here. When I was talking about the case in California that was cited in this case, it was not the unredacted PCA from Pennsylvania. It was Bicca Barlow's declaration from the defense. So I'm sorry about that. Maybe it warrants its own entire show because it's a very complex subject. And it wasn't the only reason why that touch DNA was thrown out of that case. So. They're so cute. Okay, hold on. Teresa, wrong. Hold on. He's not there for being, I'm not going to say these out loud. So he can walk the main line in GP anywhere, any day, by any highlights profile. Oh, sorry. But any highlights profile case get to go to the high power module. Hey, Keen, I haven't seen you in a long time. You got a cheap mouse at Goodwill. Well, Goodwill's usually pretty good about not putting broken things out. So it should be really interesting. Sounded to me like Mr. G was referring to the sheath again. I guess it was under M's leg. Nerd. That's not, can't be true. Oh. Read the handed stuff. Prison gangs want people like Bryan to join their organization. Vicious crimes, as long as they ain't have to do with children or sex crimes. And it can't be any other way. I mean, there's got to be a patriarchy there because there's a vacuum. They put everybody with, you know, they already have challenging social skills, obviously, and then they put them all in general population with no structure. So it's like, okay, and the wolf pack has to form and people have to be protected. So like, I think that one of the biggest takeaways from my true crime podcast is the need for prison reform. And we're just chuck people into these cruel and unusual situations. And a lot of them are going to get re-released into society. So it's not just about, you know, even if you're selfish or only thinking about your own needs, this is something that affects all of us. So. All right, I'm going to bring up the next soundbite. Heather says, considering that they filed a supplemental and state responded, my guess is they did not meet the discovery deadline. I think that was why they made the decision to move general. So that would make sense. We were talking about the 6th earlier when we brought up the docket, and wondered if they vacated that hearing and they were supposed to turn over their evidence. Discovery is sealed. Nemesis Luarnas, and we saw nothing. It was ignored before its deadline of the September 6th. Hello, Teresa. What a cute picture. Defense was early with DP, drop deadline of September 10th. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my last soundbite, and well, not last soundbite, because we're going to show Heather's new video to end, but the last update that I have for you today, which I really do think you're going to be interested in. So I heard the most interesting thing. I was sent a live stream by one of my mods, and it was Lana from Truth Transparency, and she said something really interesting. So I can't verify any of this. I don't know what context it was said. I just know what was said. And it reminded me of an early interview we saw with the Gonzalez family, which I'm going to bring up with you. Anyway, so what Lana was saying, and again, if I am misquoting, I do apologize. I will link the live stream below so you guys can go hear for herself, but she said something along the lines of one of the families was intercepting Bryan Kohberger's mail. And I didn't quite understand if we were talking about, you know, we know there's no connection to BK and the girls, so, or Ethan, so we are assuming this is after the crime. But there was a really interesting video I did about 2 months ago. And it was a story that was sent to me by Mikey. So I should give him credit before I even get started. And it was about how weird the mail delivery. It was about the weirdness of the mail delivery. And I found it an incredible soundbite that I want to share with you guys. Here it is. It's called, if you want to look at it for yourself, it's called UPS search warrant deep dive. And it says the mail was very important. So with this new information that we got, that there was a family member intercepting Bryan Kohberger's mail. Let's listen to this soundbite and see what they have to say. All right, so this first, okay, before I get started though, I will say this, I'm going to put a banner up. Everything we say is simply speculation. We do not know what's going on. There's a gag order in the case. So all commentary is speculation. It's just opinion and reaction. I don't know. I just want to know. Segment that we're doing, I think that you're going to be really interested in this. So this is all talking about the UPS inside the search warrant. And when I say that I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, I mean, we really do go over the search warrant a lot. And we talk oftentimes about the Amazon account and looking for a weapon. But what's said in the search warrant about the mail carrying facility is chilling. And it seems like it's such a big clue, and it's going to be such a huge thing when the trial comes out. It's going to be a huge part of the trial. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay, because I'm going to break it down from the beginning. So this story was given to, well, it was given to my Discord by Mikey, my mod, but I'm the first one to put it up. So I'm glad I got, that's why I'm doing this live, kind of impromptu live stream today, is because I know it's a slow start, but once we get going on this, you guys are going to it's really going to light up the chat. Yeah. All right. Hold on. So there's actually two. So I'm going to clarify, because say it louder for the people in the back, please, says UPS is not USPS. USPS interception would be a federal offense and a felony. Well, here's the interesting thing is I didn't quite pick up on that as well. But in the video, you'll see we went through the search warrant. I don't know if I did it in this video, but there is warrants for the UPS and the USPS, if I'm not mistaken. So what's interesting is they're looking for cameras inside the facility. And so we were thinking, okay, are they looking for the Elantra driving by? But they were looking for cameras inside the facility too. And the dates were after the crime. So we're like, okay, were they looking for BK coming back to UPS? Or now with this new info, were they looking for somebody who was maybe trying to pretend they were BK? And I don't know. It's all speculation. Let's listen. Sound bites in here I want to show you, but the one we're focusing on right now is only about 20 seconds long. And what you're listening for is there's just this little gleaming of what's in the Gonzalez's head, what's been fed to them to show, okay, we're making progress. What's so interesting, actually, I'm going to show you both sound bites from this right now. Let's show the first one, and then I'll set up the second one. So first, hear this, what he's saying about the mail. We're going to listen to the second one. I might even go back and play the 20-second one again, because it's so important that it's in your head when we get to the search warrant.
Good evening, America, and welcome to this.
Wow, that's loud. We're going to start right about here.
Be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And they
Did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for
there
you.
was no update. They needed me to
text.
sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something
Some mail.
that was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here. We just have no information as family, and it gets tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something, and you see these, oh, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
Okay, so we'll stop there. So it's at the very beginning. She said, just today we heard there's something mail related. And then you hear their attitude. So listen to what they say after this. I was only using this clip for that small 20-minute spot, but I was listening to the whole 10-minute segment today, and just a few things popped out to me, particularly this, because not only at the same time that they're stressing that they're obtaining a search warrant for something mail related that the Gonzalez had to give some sort of waiver on, but afterwards they're stating how they're not posting reward money and looking for leads. And this is just a really interesting detail, but it's interesting that at the same time, I'm going to just say, as them not pause when my mouth is open. If my dog is, stop it, Ron. He's got a piece of plastic in his mouth. Starts the distraction. So I am very perplexed by this too. Oh, stop making that noise. Look at that. So if they had a reward offered and they didn't have a suspect, why didn't they honor that reward? Like, why didn't they offer that reward? And when I've asked the question before, somebody who I do trust, actually I'll just say the name, was Viviana. She told me that the tip lines, and I don't know, there may have been I don't know if this was an official reason or the reason like they had heard as a local, but basically the tip, and so I'm not trying to pin it on her. She just was trying to give me some explanations. And she said, the tip lines were really flooded. They didn't want them to be flooded with more tips, but that breaks my heart if that's the case. I would think you'd want as many tips as possible. I don't know. But I thought that was, when I first heard, even though this has nothing to do with that, that always blew my mind. There's another interesting thing when they talk about the DNA here. And the reason I remembered this clip is because Christy Nevada, God bless her, sent me this clip earlier talking about something completely different. And I'm like, wow, we need to show the rest of that clip today because it talks about the male. I'm just trying to find Christy's handle here. But the reason she was saying it is because they were saying it might not be him. And then this news presentation was done before they apprehended BK. So it was just interesting language. Let's keep listening. Talking about the mail, the search warrant for the mail, they're also talking about not looking for new leads. So let's listen to this really interesting blurb from Steve. I'm going to play this for a full 4 minutes. We're going to go back to the mail thing though, but before I bring it up to the search warrant. All right, so that's at the 8-minute mark.
Third party.
Third party.
Why go the private route? Do y'all worry that at the end of this week that this case may be
100%.
cold?
We're scared.
When you tell me you don't want a photo up there with the reward offering information, that kind of sounds like you're trying to like suppress the story. I mean, why do you not need help? But hey, I could be wrong. And you officers, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I want to,
absolutely.
please forgive me. Please forgive me. But if you don't have the information, people do know. If they don't,
oh, but beyond this here,
you know,
Give us
the
something.
community, this is a community that is IT.
I'm going to pause there. I'm sorry I'll back it up so I'm not like interrupting them while they're talking. I know you guys probably would rather hear what they're saying, but Viviana is here. Viviana, I was asking you, we had a discussion a while back, and I don't know if you recall, but we were talking about the reward money that was offered in the Idaho4 case and how it was declined by the police. And I think you told me that it was because they didn't want the tip line overburdened. And somebody else up here, PKC, says, often rewards bring out the crazy. Already enough in this case. Let me rewind that a little. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just thought that was an important comment to bring up.
Trying to like suppress the story. I mean, why do you not need help? But hey, I could be wrong. And you officers, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I want to,
absolutely.
please forgive me. Please forgive me. But if you don't have the information, people do know. If they don't, then, you know,
Give us
the
something.
community, this is a community that is IT based. These guys live a digital footprint like we've never. All of us older people, we don't know how much that digital footprint could be helpful. So that's what we ask for. I hope like a DNA, family lineage, if they could come out here and just start taking, this town is not that big. We could figure out this, and it might not be him. It might be a family member. We have family all going to the school together. You know, there's cousins, there's aunts, there's uncles. We could find this guy
Those,
just with volunteers.
lineage companies were, yeah.
Put Idaho on the map.
And then we'll stop there. Isn't that weird though? I mean, as he is describing it as the parent living it in that moment, that they're trying to suppress the case or suppress something. What was that all about? I mean, in what circumstance in a homicide do you not welcome a reward money for tips? I don't know. Very interesting. I just don't know the psychological strategy behind that. So if you have an idea, drop it in the chat. Why wouldn't you ever offer a reward money? I mean, in what circumstances is that your benefit? I'm not saying there isn't one, there must be, but you have any idea, drop it in the chat. I know, I thought so too. So Miss Anonymous says, weird statement, put Idaho on the map. And he's referencing the IGG. So we don't know what the conversations were behind the scenes, but we can tell if they're grasping at straws because they have no information. These are the small pieces of information that they do have. And so when they say put Idaho on the map, talking about IGG, sounds like they're talking about cutting edge IGG genetic genealogy work. It's really interesting. I picked up on that too. Okay, So now I'm going to just backtrack just because I kind of got off. Oh, yeah, this is that interview, Christy. Be an alpha, don't make me be the one. He has always made me think he's talking to frats. Guess I never thought of it like that. Why don't we play the news clip to the end? Or I'll play till the end because it was short. I forgot it was. I'm reading my notes wrong. It was only a minute 15 clip. We can play it till the end because it's almost done, where he says that, and that's when he talks about how he paid, trigger warning, paid for the funeral, and the injuries don't match. And then we'll go back to the quote about the search warrant. And I'm just talking kind of disoriented right now because I'm trying to pull up a banner for a trigger warning. Hold on. Ain't that the truth, Heather? If you just stumbled onto this live stream, this is a true crime live stream. So we are discussing a crime scene. Right. Agree with Christy. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's one from Sirius Black. The only thing I could figure out about the reward is the university was trying to suppress the headlines in regards to students enrolling. He references students enrolling. I feel like we should play the whole entire segment at this point, because maybe the reason all these things were said together is because they were connected and it wasn't just a random interview. That's so weird. My screen is like freezing. I'm going to stop my camera. Gosh, you guys, why don't we play this from the beginning and then I'll go back to the one segment. We'll play it up to the 4-minute mark. So we'll play the first 4 minutes, which I didn't play for you. But if you haven't heard this in a while, it is quite. So this is what we're interested in. First 4 minutes. You haven't seen this
so
before.
That's what we asked for. I hope like a DNA, family lineage, if they could come out here and just start taking, this town is not that big. We could figure out this, and it might not be him. It might be a family member. We have family all going to the school together. There's cousins, there's aunts, there's uncles. We could find this guy with volunteers.
Lineage companies were,
Put Idaho on the map.
What? Yeah.
Christy, Steve.
I didn't realize what that was.
We're going to stay on this case.
Thank you.
We're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
You guys have been candid with us. We'll keep.
I should have read that comment before I displayed it, but I just want to say in response to that, I always have really great conversations with you, echoes of clarity, and your knowledge of the Constitution and our constitutional rights. Just thought I'd rebut that after displaying that comment.
Asking questions. Any resource that we have available, our audience is praying for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. It was big for you guys to come back to Moscow tonight. I know it took a lot of courage to do it, and I'm hoping we can get some answers for you. Thanks so much for joining me tonight.
All right, now we're going back to the beginning of
tonight. It only takes one moment.
Now we're going to hear the bail. Oh my God. I actually. Sorry, Mike.
Good evening, America, and welcome to this special edition of Cross Country in Moscow, Idaho. Tonight, we are in front of the Moscow Police Department, and you may be asking why. It's been about 3 weeks since the horrific stabbing death of 4 college students at the University of Idaho. 3 weeks since we lost Zayna, Maddie, Kaylee, and Ethan. 3 weeks, and still the police have no suspect or person of interest. The community has been left in limbo, left with more confusion and more questions. We are on the hunt for answers for them. Moscow deserves answers. The students of the university deserve answers. These 4 young innocent victims deserve answers, and so do their families. So let's start there. Joining me now on set, the parents of Kaylee Gonzalez, Christy and Steve Gonzalez. Thank y'all so much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Christy, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
It's literally like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's just the horrific details of everything. Them just having a good time, going home and going to bed, and this happening to them.
Your best friend crawling into bed.
Just crawling in bed.
Every
and
girl
the
in
boogeyman
America
comes.
knows what that's
The
like.
boogeyman doesn't, you know, meet you at McDonald's. I mean, the boogeyman comes and snatches you out of your bedroom.
Steve, we've been talking. I've been talking to folks in the community. You said something that stuck with me. You said, until this person is caught, you can't sleep in your bed.
No, I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you. And they're gonna hear Kaylee. They're gonna hear Maddie. They're gonna hear.
This really bothered me a while. I keep interrupting the G's, and I know I should have better streaming habits than that. But I wanted to bring up this comment by Angel D because I can't imagine how this family felt at this point. There's nobody caught. Somebody offers a reward, they don't take it, and they are probably rules to that. But Angel D says, weren't they allegedly taking down flyers about the crime too? Allegedly, like the U of I wanted to keep it as quiet as possible. I've heard the same thing. And I mean, I feel like the source definitely, like we did have it confirmed, but I think it was during Rush Week, maybe that I don't know. They wouldn't, I don't know, but they did. I've heard the same thing. Let me put the interview back on and I'll go back 10 seconds so it's fluid.
In your bed.
No, I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you. And they're gonna hear Kaylee. They're gonna hear Maddie. They're gonna hear these.
The other two as well.
Yes.
Oh.
I'm careful saying anything about them because I need to be careful because I can't speak on somebody else's child. But these two girls, I'm not trying to be a glory hound, but these two girls, I'm going to do what I can do. And we're not being victims. We're going to fight. We're going to figure out how to make sure that we hold everybody, accountable, and we keep eyes and attention on this and get this thing resolved.
Steve, you have made it very clear to our audience that you are supportive of law enforcement. You support the investigation. But recently, I've been watching and talking with you, and you're getting frustrated. What does that frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen. And those people are like lawyers and they don't want to say anything. And they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can. But somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out. They're like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over when you come and you do your rush. You're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday.
We looked at our phone records.
Okay,
We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3:00 on Thursday.
Okay, so bringing us full circle, this is why we were watching this soundbite in the first place, is this little 20-second soundbite right here. And there's just some really good comments in the chat we're going to get to in a moment about these soundbites.
Thursday.
And
did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing. We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related.
We needed to sign a waiver so they could discuss something mail related. All right, guys. So the last 10 minutes of this entire live stream was to get to that quote, which there's a teeny bit more to it. But the point is that when I heard about the quote from Lana, this is a connection that I made because it was the most bizarre thing. Now, Kaylee is not a minor, so signing a waiver to get into the mail was always really interesting. The other thought was, well, maybe they had taken over custody of her mail at that point, so they needed to sign a waiver for that. I don't know, but under what circumstance would an adult woman need her parents to come in and sign a waiver to search the mail, unless it had to do with someone else other than Kaylee? Why would somebody ever have to sign permission for a mail? Again, it's no accusations, but I'm going by what we heard on that live stream. Were they asking them to sign a waiver for their mail? I don't know. And again, it's all speculation. It's just the strangest reporting we heard in the last few days. And I'm starring a couple comments down here, and we're going to get to them after I show you and Viviana's updating. She says, no one took down flyers. I wonder did we not hear that from the G's? I really thought that was in an interview about the posters. If anyone remembers where we heard that, I know Criminal Confidential, Jen knows, so I'll Discord her later. And because she was the one she has brought this story up to me before, and Heather, I thought mentioned it before too. Yeah, we'll get some clarification, but I kind of would go with what Viviana is saying, just because she's local and she might actually know, but we'd like to know how you know too. Let me keep going. Search warrant. And with that said, I've got the document pulled up. So this is, let me make sure you can see that. Xana's family was putting out the flyers. And I don't know where it is. Come on, Swamp Rose. Get your shit together. I have so many of Nina's pictures up, I'm like lost. Now I'm blaming Nina. I like that. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there are two things inside this search warrant that are so interesting, and I don't know if you've ever looked at this with intensity, or if it maybe was something like me that you passed by. So apparently it says page 12 of the search warrant, and again, Mikey gave this to me, Mikey S. Please give him a thank you if you see him in the chat or in the comments below. So I'm gonna read the whole thing. So it says, to any peace officer authorized to enforce or insist in enforcing any law of the state of Idaho, Brett Payne, having given me proof upon oath this day showing probable cause on the grounds of issuing a search warrant and probable cause to believe that the property referred to and brought in or upon said premises consists of information related to the crime of homicide, to include any and all video that is recorded and stored on any delivery trucks that were in Moscow, Idaho between the dates of November 6, 2022 and November 14, 2022, located in or upon the following description premises: United Parcel Service, UPS, search warrant, and it's signed. What's so interesting, you guys, is it's not just the video footage from UPS. They literally say before that, they preface this part of the search warrant by saying, premises consists of information related to the crime of homicide. Like, what? I mean, to say it like that, doesn't that kind of, in some capacity, make you think of a weapon? Or like, what part of this crime would involve a shipment of something? What could it be? Like, what part of this crime could involve a shipment, especially if the defense attorney has been up on the stand numerous times saying there's no connection between the victims and the perpetrator, the alleged killer. So we're not talking about maybe him sending something to them, because it would have it would have been a connection that AT would have spoke on the stand. Like, what could it be, and why at the post office? Maybe this is what came to my mind is, you know, when you're expecting some sort of package from UPS, if it's heavy, awkward, or if this probably isn't it, they're scared of putting it on your porch, they will hold the package and call you to tell you to pick it up. I'm gonna stop. Could it be that my screen is glitching so bad? Let me turn off let me get to the search warrant. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Let me try that again. So right up here, that's highlighted by Mikey, established on the grounds for issuing a search warrant, probably believed that the property referred to and brought upon said premises consists of information related to the crime of homicide. I don't know why they would have emphasized that crime of homicide. I don't know. Maybe it's worth it to go back and look at the probable cause affidavit and see, you know, when they talk about those 12 times where the car was seen before the crime, maybe some of those dates or locations match up. Hey, Dee, I feel like it's been a little while since you've been in the chat. Hope you're doing good. And Teresa. Rolo, you're so sweet. There were a couple comments I wanted to get to while we're talking about that. At first, I was thinking DNA wise, not legit mail. I know. When you hear, The white car was never sought as implicated. It was only ever sought as W. Oh, as a witness. You guys, we have some really good thoughts in the chat, so I'm just going to pause and bring them up because there's just so much to say in here. All right, so just sticking with the camera subject. So first and foremost, Janine, do we know, we kind of went over this earlier, all the dates have been vacated. So that date is gone. But it doesn't mean that the trial isn't going to happen on or before that date. It could. It's a new court, and they move very evidently at a faster pace. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, and it was about that comment. I think what I was asking is, Vivian, if you could tell us where you got the info to. Okay, and then I think what Nick meant by this comment was they were looking at cameras to see if somebody removed a package that had been delivered, which would be a good reason to look for the cameras. Another comment by Nick, did they keep some of our mail? That could be why they think it's a package. So that's the other, that I don't know if this is entirely what you meant, but that would make sense that maybe after the crime, they were holding Kaylee's mail and the parents had to sign to get it back. That would be a reason why, you know, an adult woman would have someone signing for her mail. And then license tag readers on the trucks. Cameras collect community activity. Coeur d'Alene, Ellie uses private company. And it was curious. The one thing I just want to say about these search warrants is it's not just the trucks. It's the premises in and inside the premises. So like somebody who is going into the premises, I don't know. We got it. This is almost done. And then we're going to watch Heather's video, which is another interview with the Gonzalez family. It's actually a collage of different interviews. Okay. I have one more thing on the search warrant I'm going to bring up to you guys. Just adding to what Lana was saying on truth, transparency. Down here at the bottom, it says location in, so not just the cameras outside. It says camera footage from in or upon the following described premise. United States Postal Service. So this is the hub. And if it's in or upon, I'm assuming, and again, I'm going to change my banner to speculation. Hold on. I'm assuming they're talking about somebody coming in and picking something up. Because they would have gotten the notification, the date range that they say is the 6th through the 14th. So wait, it sounds like they were like, oh my God, they must have given the notification on the 6th and they wanted to just wait around to see who came in for it. I don't. Oh, that's an important part of the search because I'm bouncing around the search warrant. I wanted to read these comments by Heather first. UPS trucks begin their routes at or before 4 a.m. in Idaho. I'm thinking it probably isn't much different in those states. That's a really, really good point. They start their route right when this crime is alleged to start. And I know this because a family works for UPS, and I saw that because somebody thanked her for, Teresa said, that's interesting. Really good comment, Heather. As per usual. I want a notification, the date range that they say is the 6th through the 14th. So it sounds like they must have given the notification on the 6th and they wanted to just wait around to see who came in for it. I don't know. A few comments, one. All right, so I'm gonna go up to some of these larger. I was just seeing if there's anything about the UPS. Hold on. I actually thought that too. Salt louder. Oh, don't say it louder for the people in the back, please. Yeah. That. I mean, if we're gonna bring up alternative theories or defensive strategies, yeah, that's something we could be looking at too, because it's so hard to think of any other motive than a psychopath. Okay, I just want to pause for a second. When you say she keeps saying that, this is future Swamp Rose. That's old Swamp Rose. So old Swamp Rose didn't know what she was talking about. I agree. Just saying. Probably a good time to bring up Heather's video. Am I done with the warrant here? I'm going to put up this comment. Mikey S is awesome. I am really glad I found you on DTS. Is Mikey S here? I don't think he's probably awake yet. Right here is one of his posts or her post, whoever. The question is for me, who the heck is inside looking? Okay, we can stop there. But who the heck is inside looking? Is this inside looking undercover? Or is this the unaliver? So, okay, this is another good point. So again, we're just going with this new thing we heard on Truth Transparency, but inside looking mentioned in mail as well. Who was inside looking? What's all this stuff going on with the mail? Old Swamp Rose. I think this might be old Swamp. I don't know what the best terminology is. Younger Swamp Rose says. Oh yeah, it was an old video. Yes, I should have clarified, but regardless, what I like about the old videos is we've just amassed so many sound bites and so many weird. Anyway, I'm glad I have the sound bite. I probably shouldn't have played the whole video for that reason, though. It's a kilter. Swamp hanging with Daniel. Oh, so this is from my okay. What I need to do is show you guys this awesome video that Heather made today. And if we have enough time, maybe I'll end with a tribute video as well. But I'm going to my community post. If you want an easy way to find it, I'll put up Heather's channel handle, or you can go to my community post. I posted it earlier today. This is a 25-minute video. I'm going to pause it because I don't have the sound on. It was this interview. Hold on, let me see how long this one is. Yeah, we're going to play at least. No, this is the whole interview. There we go. Yeah, we're going to play at least the first 15 to 20 minutes of this. So I'm going to star your comments and call my husband back because I was supposed to pull a permit earlier. And enjoy the video. I'll be right back.
Cameras, the community needs to determine who this individual is. You cannot ask for the community to do the death penalty without their vision, without their support, without their understanding of all the aspects of the case. It's more than just the jury members. It's the community. It's a message for everybody to understand. In Idaho, this is how we work. We're not the same as Chicago. We're not the same as Miami and New York and LA. This is how Idaho perceives a major incident, and this is how we react to it. And we have the resources to do that. So I don't know what removing the cameras really provides other than a gap. You know, and we've had a gag order in this case, and that didn't work out well. You know, you hear about other people who've been placed under a gag order. It doesn't seem that the Constitution works well with this constitutional time of when it's okay to speak about, I don't know, I don't want to say the truth, but I want to say when people are going to speak about a case and let the audience decide what the truth is. You know, a gag order is an old version of controlling the narrative. You can't control it anymore with, you know, social media, TikToks, and, you know, like I've said before, it's not NBC, ABC, and these three medias that control this narrative. The whole world sees everything. So pretending like you can control, and what are you trying to control? Are we just displaying truth in action? To me, the courtroom is truth in action. So why do we hide that?
Were you surprised, Steve, to see the prosecution also now say that they don't want cameras?
I want to say yes, but I'm shocked at how many times the prosecution and the defendant are on the same page. And then there's some certain things that they have in common, and they rise up. They rise up over and over and over. I won't say them now, but if they keep rising up over my daughter's truth and justice, then I will just call them out on those commonalities that they have.
I just want to stop there and get your speculation. Like, what could he possibly be talking about? I mean, we know they both went to the same college. They went to U of I. We know they're both paid by tax dollars. We know they work in the same office setting, but like, what is he referencing that they have some commonalities? I mean, when he says it like that, it sounds like commonalities that are unsavory. Like, but then again, this is such an early interview, and the stress that was put on these parents at that time, I don't know if, you know, we can hold them accountable for every single word they say, but I just wonder what he means by that. Because you wonder if the families involved in this are in some distress over these commonalities he's bringing up.
And I mean, I just want a camera. I just want the truth. I just want everyone to see what's going on. That makes me radical. Okay, I'll live with that.
Shannon, does it matter what the families think in the eyes of the court? I mean, I've seen the filings from the prosecution, defense, the media. Like, does the family have a say when it comes to the cameras?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I can't speak for the prosecution in this case or the defense in any way. As an experience as a prosecutor, as a former prosecutor, and we always listen to the victims. A lot of times, the victims have an opportunity to speak to us about resolutions, how the case might be resolved. Certain things that go on during the case, we want them involved in. Along those.
So Heather made this video, so I'd prefer to read her observation, first, because she's the one who spent time editing this and putting all these captions up. I think he is talking about how many issues the state and defense agree with and defense agreed with stipulations instead of the judge having to make the decision. But I don't know for sure. We're all guessing.
Those lines. And so I think that's part of the family putting out the statement today, was to voice their opinion about what they thought about having cameras in the courtroom, and hoping that people were listening to what they were saying. So I can't speak to the prosecution or the defense and what they might be thinking. So.
That's an interesting statement.
In your role representing the families, does the prosecution come to you like with situations like this and say, what does the family think about cameras?
Well, we were always hopeful, but I think that's the reason we put out the statement today. I think if we had been approached or asked in some way about that, at least the Gonzalez family, I'm not sure they contacted. I don't know. I can't speak to see if they've contacted any of the other families. I don't think they contacted the Cornudo family or the Mogans about the courtroom cameras in the courtroom. But they did not contact the Gonzalez family through me to ask us what our opinion was. And the family stressed to me that they thought it was an important thing that the world know and people know what they thought about it, and that they thought it was important that cameras be in the courtroom. And so that's why the statement was put out by the family, to let people know what their thoughts were.
In the statement, Steve, it says that the case is surrounded by secrecy. Can you elaborate on that a little more? Like what you guys meant by that?
I've talked with multiple family members, and I want to be respectful for everybody's viewpoint. And there is some fear that the cameras will record things that are gross. They're not ready to have their friends and family members come to them and say, hey, did you hear about this or that? And I understand that. I really do. So they come to me, and I reflect what they're saying. I absorb it, and then I also tell them from a legal perspective.
Sorry,
my lawyer, counsel. It's hard to really argue what a camera is going to be in a courtroom negatively. Like, we're here asking for somebody in the community to judge this individual. So let's just hang it out there. Let's show every aspect and every fact that I feel is a fact. The community should agree that that is a fact, whether it's DNA or whatever it is. So, but I still respect all these family members and their own individual processing of their preparedness for what's about to happen. And it's terrible. You really cannot prepare yourself to understand that the legal system is going to drag all of us through the mud. And that's the only way you can get to the truth. So if I'm going to go through the mud, I'd rather have all the witnesses that I can possibly have than to create a narrow bubble there in Watauga County and Moscow and say that, I want to have the support of everyone, that the justice was put in place And the evidence was that clear.
I'm thinking about, them wanting to tear the house down, the university, and sort of the fight over that. And now not wanting cameras, and the prosecution also not wanting cameras. And they gave their legal arguments, which, I guess makes sense in one way, that witnesses might be scared to testify with cameras rolling, especially like emotional witnesses. But I'm also wondering, like, do you think any of this is connected? Like, without cameras, the story sort of goes away. The town doesn't look as bad. Without the house, you don't have to think about it every day. The school can go back to normal. Like, do you think it's all connected, or do you think it really is just sort of legal? Like, both sides just don't want the cameras for the legal reasons.
100%. The reason I'm talking to you right here, right now, is because there is capital business decisions being made on top of justice systems. So no, there is no way to pretend like these all equal and they all equate to the same motivation. Somebody's going to lose, and it isn't going to be my daughter. I will sit here. I will speak to every single microphone, every single camera before I go to court and after I go to court. If you force me to do it, I'd rather the courtroom speak for itself than me. I don't want to speak. I'm actually quite a private man. But if you force me to protect my daughter, then I will speak at every moment that I have to do just that and protect her. And that's what we're doing today. We're protecting the truth. We're protecting where the truth is going to go. The truth needs to be in that courtroom, and a camera will never, ever hide the truth. So why remove it? Why do you remove a camera? Well, maybe it'll protect you from, like me, I misspoke. I might say something wrong, but I'm a father. I can deal with that. The repercussions of that is fine. But some people seem to be scared of the repercussions of their mistake. And I say, just embrace it and let the community decide what the truth is. We either got the guy or we don't. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And just a few more questions. Since Kohberger waived the speedy trial, I think we all thought maybe the trial was going to be really soon, and now it could be far away. I mean, how are you dealing with that? Are you still processing that? I mean, I feel for you guys having to like continue to live in this weird like legal limbo.
You give up all your notions of normal when something like this happens. And you hope that your community feels for you and embraces you, hugs you, and says, we're going to take care of this. You hope that your community says, we're here for you and we're going to make this right. And that's why I'm there, for them to have the vision and the cameras, and everybody needs to be in that room, because they're the ones that are wrapping their arms around me, Chrissy, and our children. They're saying, we're going to do, like, this is an outsider. He came here to hunt these dumb hillbillies and teach us about what he said was like cloud computing and forensic. He thought he could come here and hunt dumb hillbillies and you could get away with this. And now that we have him caught, we need to be able to hold him accountable, and the community needs to be a part of that. And taking cameras out of there makes it a double standard. You can't say that they're accountable, yet they're not a part of it.
How are you? I mean, how are you guys doing? Like, I mean, the last time I saw you in court, Olivia was there with your granddaughter. I mean, how are they doing? I'm sure in some ways, like, life has to go on. You have some positive things happening too with your granddaughter. Like how's everybody doing?
Oh, I didn't realize what that said.
In some ways, we're in a pause of a movie. Like, you can just go forward, but you just got to keep rewinding because you don't know what you've missed and all these facts. So it's no way to live. It's no way to be. And we try to treat our children different than what we're going through. It's my responsibility to hold this individual accountable for what he's done to my family. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm talking. That's why this is happening right here, right now. It's not because I care about anything other than justice. And that's why I'm pushing for cameras. That's why I'm pushing for this, because I'm a biased man. I'm a biased father. So let everybody have a part in this. And then it's a lot easier for us to have a conviction that we all embrace. And then the rest of me and my family don't have to hear the haunting effects of messages saying that, you know, if there would have been cameras in that courtroom, it would have been a different outcome. You know, if we would have had truth and transparency in this case, if it wasn't all about business, then there would have been a different outcome. So you only have one moment to make a statement, and that's the moment we're in right now and why we're doing this. You know, Shannon told me we had a couple of interviews. I don't keep track of this. He keeps track of this for me because there is a gap. It's a gap in leadership. And the leadership, I want them to hold everyone accountable and do all this. And when they don't, our phones are being right. People are calling us because somebody else isn't picking up the phone. That's really why we get involved. I don't want to be the guy talking to you, to be honest.
Where did Heather's comment go?
Yeah, you sort of become like the spokesperson, though. I mean, it's, you know, like you said, it seems like if you don't hold people accountable, you know, it's like in life, you know, things slip away or whatever.
For me, Kaylee would have expected me to be her father. Not 1%, not 10, not 50% of the time. Like I handed off to a judge and a prosecutor to be the father. I'm going to be her father 100% of the time. And when I tell whoever did this, you picked the wrong family, it has to be backed by action. And I'm that action. I'm that person saying, I'm going to be the voice that doesn't go away, even if both sides want that voice to go away.
Makes sense. Is there anything else, Shannon, you think is important that we didn't touch on with the statement, or just that you want to get out there going into the hearing tomorrow?
You know, I mean, there's a lot of procedural things that are going on in the next couple of weeks. I think the family will be there either by Zoom or in person. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. You know, it's not worth it to really get them in there for 10 or 15 minutes to, like Steve said, for a whole day's worth of stuff. So, but we are, you know, we're looking forward to some of the stuff coming up, the scheduling order, picking new trial dates, you know, the alibi issue, the indictment stuff, all decisions on those things. The court has a lot of stuff in front of him that it has to make some decisions on. We're looking forward to those things. The cameras in the courtroom tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be some oral argument on that tomorrow. I think we'll all be there by Zoom. I'll be there by Zoom. And, you know, it's like Steve said, you know, they become the spokespersons for the families sometimes because that's the job that they've taken on and they're willing to do it. And, you know, when we do put out statements, you know, we always kind of check in with the families to see if that's something that they're in line with, and we can attach their name to it. So they can get their voice out there and present their views. And so, you know, we thought it was important that everyone knew what the positions of some of the family members of the Cornudo family and the Gonzalez family felt about cameras in the courtroom. And that was the reason for the statement today. So.
with that, we bring in Steve Gonsalves, who is the father of Kaylee, and he joins me now. Steve, first of all, our condolences to you and your family. We're so, so sorry for your loss, sir. We have kids, similar ages, and I can't imagine what you're going through. So I thank you for being here. And as I mentioned to you earlier, our goal in talking to you is to keep this story out there, to show the tip line, which we're going to put up on the screen in just a moment. But I want to get your reaction to this confusion of it is targeted, not targeted, maybe the people in the house, maybe it was the residents. What can you tell us about that?
I don't like it one bit. I know these statements take like hours and multiple individuals to review. It's not like this was something said on the side of the street within the first 5 hours of the case. And these guys are professionals. They sat in a room and this is what they came out with. And they keep coming out with statements that create more questions than the answer. And then that creates a pressure. And that's why I'm feeling like there's so many people coming and looking for answers. And I'm one of them.
One of the things that you said last night about the two of them having fallen asleep in the same bed, that was new information. Is that the case, that they were actually in the same bed?
To me, it wasn't new. The coroner had shared a bunch of information about there was some photos. If you knew the house design, you would have seen that there was a picture of Kaylee's bed, and it was made. There was nothing in there. So it was kind of a process of elimination. If you'd been in the home, if you knew the inside information, like I knew that was my daughter's room. So to me, it had been out, but I'm sure they're not happy with me saying that. And I didn't mean to say something that was supposed to be on the wraps, but
of course
I've told them, you got to work with me. You got to tell me what to say and what not to say, and I'll listen. But sometimes they're scared to give me those advices, and I understand.
Let me ask you, because of something that you said when you spoke with Lawrence Jones, do you believe that people on this campus know something that the rest of us don't know? Do you think that there was a stalker involved in this case?
I don't think it matters what I particularly feel. I just want them to follow the evidence. I think even people who think they don't have information, I know people have been scared to share stuff because of there may be a alcohol or drugs or something in the background. I've tried to work with them to let everybody know that that's not what they're working on. But I've definitely heard from people that they're scared to submit stuff. It could be a party. It could be anything around that neighborhood within that time that could help us. And I think that community is going to solve this case just as much as those officers in that room.
You said something about, someone's car could be, in a selfie or a video of a person who said that they had an alibi, but the car isn't where it was supposed to be. Tell me about that, what you're thinking when you say that, sir.
I have an IT background. I know Teslas and some other vehicles have cameras that you don't even have to turn on and they're still recording. And there's some chips in there that you can pull data off. I know that's the way the Wi-Fi's work. So this individual could have came into these homes and partied and done things, and that data can be captured. I want this guy to be fair. I want him to be scared. I don't want him to be confident. I want him to be sick of seeing my face. And I'm not going nowhere until this guy's off the streets. And the worst thing I want is another family to go through this.
Kaylee's mom said something about being fearful that he is around, that he's watching all of this, that he could even show up at a funeral service for your daughter or one of these children.
It's pretty much a fact. He who does something like this and doesn't tune into the media? Who wouldn't? It's in his 100% selfish interest. So yes, he is. And we wouldn't want to do some kind of celebration and exclude anyone. So yeah, he could easily be there. And that's a sick kind of twisted person that would do this kind of crime.
When you talked about getting into the phone, you said we have family passwords and, we were able to get in there. Is there anything that you can share with us about what you learned there or people she was communicating with? We know there was a back and forth between she and her on and off boyfriend through the course of the night.
There was a little there was some information. We were able to get that to the police officers. I think it definitely helped them. I know the behavior footprint afterwards, it did definitely get some more things in the works. But I'm a historical fact person. I can help them know my daughters and Maddie from past. But going forward, I'm going to be less and less relevant.
Do you believe that your daughter was the target, or do you have any reason to think that that she was over someone else, or that someone else was?
I do have some inkling that there was some behavior difference. I call them a footprint. When you commit a crime, you do different behaviors. I've asked permission to give any of that out, and they told me no, it would not be beneficial. So I've held back on that, and I try to keep my word.
I'm sorry, behavior of her or someone she knew?
Behavior of the victims.
All right, Steve, I appreciate you sharing this with us. And as I said, we're going to put the tip line. The tip line is up right now. It's 208-883-7180. And as you have said, none of these young people should fear that if they were drinking that night or involved in what most of us would consider pretty typical college behavior, that they are going to become a problem, that's going to be a problem for them. They need to come forward with their videos, whatever's on their phone, whatever they might have picked up on, in order to continue to work to get a break in this case, which is what we all want. We all want some justice. We want to find out who did this, and that you can all find some sort of eventual peace in this. And Steve, we're praying for all of you, and we thank you very much for being here today, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm really sorry about that. What I did say, so that you know, is this is Heather Fitzgerald's handle down at the bottom. And they're all calling me now. I'm sorry. Thank you, Christy. If you enjoyed this video, please go visit that channel handle at the bottom, because Heather is in all the chat rooms. She's watching the videos. She's got the word on the street. So she's putting out the videos that are the top of people's interest in the hot topics and the most current information. So, and Heather's been my fact checker and managing mod for months now. So I'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a like, but also subscribe to her channel and hit the notification bell, because if you want that up-to-date information, she does those good like bite-sized sound bites that aren't too long, and she's a great channel. And I put up a couple other handles. Please visit Christy. Thank you to Too Fast for helping me with work. I don't see Twiz here, but if you see him on the YouTube streets, tell him that Swamp Rose says hi. And I really appreciate you guys showing up today, because I didn't really put much notice out about this live stream. Oops, maybe I'll stop sharing that. I was just thinking I'd play a tribute video to end, so that it was a pretty intense live stream, and I just feel like maybe it'd be nice to end reminding us why we even are talking about this in the first place. And that is the 4 precious lives that were lost on November 13th, 2022. This is my tribute video to them. I cut from the official video. Xana Kernodle. Ethan Chapin. Madison Mogan.